All right, welcome to Dishing the Dirt, a podcast where we dish the dirt about how to practice sustainability through the seasons. My name is Jackie Lebouitz. I'm the Chemicals and the Environment Agent at IFAS Extension Sarasota County. I am joined by, of course, my lovely, charming co-host here.
Hello, everybody. I'm Randy Penn. I am the Faculty Waste Reduction Agent here with the Sarasota County Extension. We have a pretty cool guest today.
We sure do. And I have to say I'm very excited because it happens to be our very own coworker, Mindy Hanak, who is our Community and School Gardens Coordinator. So we'll be talking all about that in a bit. But I did want to open it up with a question before we get into a little activity here where we try out some hot sauces made with peppers that you could grow in Florida. So, Mindy, is it possible to garden in Florida?
Yes, you can definitely garden in Florida, and you can garden year-round if you don't mind the heat. Hot peppers generally grow pretty good in the summer even. But you can definitely garden in Florida, and September is a wonderful month to get growing. So,
Excellent. So you heard it here, folks. It can be done. It is possible. So thank you for bringing up the peppers. So we're going to get into a little bit of a special segment here. And by no means is this a very original idea, but it's something that I just really wanted to do. And that is we're going to try 3 different hot sauces on some tortilla chips. Me and Randy. Mindy is spared from this activity. She's welcome if she wants to try some stuff after, but
special guest privilege.
Exactly. But us, we're going to go through it. We're going to go through the ringer. And so I have 3 hot sauces here. As I mentioned, they're made from peppers that can be grown in Florida. So I have 3 different pepper bases. And we're going to start off with this one here. And it is a special reserve everyday hot sauce. And it is made with a cayenne pepper mash. So that's cayenne peppers and a little salt and some other ingredients in there as well. But I'm going to go ahead and put some on a tortilla chip for you. There you go. Some for me. Okay. All right. And I'll go ahead and preface this by saying we are not in the business of promoting any particular products. These are just randomly selected from the store shelf. So here we go. Okay. And we're going to do a countdown, right?
All right.
3, 2, 1.
That's good.
This is going to be one of my best days at work.
Kind of zesty.
Yeah, not too hot.
No, not too hot.
Nope.
Tolerable, doable. And I do feel a little bit of that cayenne profile. Obviously, there's cayenne in it, cayenne pepper. But it's not overwhelming. So I feel like you could really use that in an everyday situation.
I think so, too. And I don't like a lot of heat on my stuff. So if I can handle it, I think anyone can.
All right. That's the challenge. So are we ready for number 2? Okay. We are moving on. This is a honey hot sauce. And it's got red jalapenos. So jalapeno peppers for the space. Right. I try to do this and not spill too much. A little thicker.
It is a little bit thicker, yeah.
Probably the honey.
I think so.
All right. Bottoms at 3, 2, 1.
That one's got a little more heat.
Which is really interesting. I had this.
I thought jalapenos were milder than the other, but it might depend on the ratio.
Yeah. It's all about how you blend it, I suppose. Yeah. It does has a creeping heat to it, but it's nice. And I like the sweet as well. I've never had a honey hot sauce before, so. All right. And so our last one here is sweet potato and habanero.
Tonight, to look at that ingredient list while you can eat.
Sure, I'll pass it over. But yeah, it's got a habanero pepper mash. So orange habanero peppers, vinegar, and a whole lot of spices in there too. I check first. Mindy gave a great suggestion of maybe shaking first because it's a bit of a thicker one. All right, and here we go. Our final dab.
That'll work.
I think that's a reasonable.
That'll work.
I think you should probably have bold chip, Randy. All right. And here we go. Oh.
That's different. It's the sweet potato.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do taste a little bit of the sweet potato, but kind of comes in after. And no, I can't say that was what I was expecting. Sorry, I didn't do a countdown for that one because
You did not do a countdown, but I would say number 2 was definitely had the most heat on the back end there.
Yeah,
So
it was good. I like them all. I think they all have a little something to bring to the table, if you will. What did you make of that ingredient list, Mindy?
It had like spices and stuff in the end, and so I was looking to see. It said it pairs with like chicken, but it also said tacos. So
Versatile.
it sounds like it's a good idea to try your hot sauce before you make your meal, so you know which way you want to go.
You know what? Good suggestion. So we've tried our hot sauces. I thought I was going to be in an altered state after having these hot sauces. I was going to be sweating. I'm feeling pretty okay, actually. How about you, Randy?
I'd feel perfectly fine, yeah.
Excellent. So we'll proceed with our questions.
Thanks for bearing with us on that.
All right.
You than me.
So gardening in Florida, as discussed previously, a possibility. And you said September was a pretty good month to do it. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
So I apologize for any rustling in advance, but this makes me very happy. So if you were to compare this month to August, because IFAS does a great job providing infographics, so there's an easy way to tell what you can plant. So this is August. Not that many words on there. Tells you what you can transplant, direct seed, and everything like that. And for the purpose of this chart, if you're in the Sarasota area, we are considered south because we're south of State Road 70. But then if you look at September,
Oh, that's nearly doubled, I think.
yes, so many more words. So you can plant some of your warm season, like you can put out your eggplant, your tomatoes, your peppers. But then you can also start doing out some of your cold season crops selectively. So it's really exciting time. So September's like, there can be challenges with weather and hurricanes and things like that. So every once in a while you might have to replant if we have inclement weather, but it's a great time.
Yeah. So if you wouldn't mind reading some of the highlights from that list for September, just
So there's going to be things like you mentioned peppers. So hot peppers can do fairly well even into the summer months. But a lot of folks, if they want to grow bell peppers, things like that, or if they want to grow beefsteak tomatoes, some of our folks, when they first moved down, try to put out beefsteak tomato plants in May. It's really not a good idea. It's much more if you're into growing those plants. This time of year is great. You can still direct seed things like okra, and you can start into bush beans, which grow great from direct seeding. So you can do a mix of transplants, direct seeding, and the chart gives you a really nice way of doing that. And that's floridafresh.ifas.ufl.edu.
Thank you. And I will just throw it out there because we have show notes. Anything that you reference will be in the show notes. So you can definitely list off links if you'd like, but we'll also have those available for people to just directly click.
Excellent. So yeah, so it's one of those, September is delightful. I mean, you can still continue to grow a lot out through late spring, but September starts to really kick off the season. So a lot of vegetable gardeners are super stoked. And you mentioned seasons when you're doing the introduction. Vegetable gardening is a really cool way of recognizing some of the seasonal changes in Florida that sometimes people don't really notice otherwise. But vegetable gardening really helps you with feeling kind of tied to seasons.
That's very true. And I guess I should ask as well, what can we expect maybe to see on the store shelves this time of year?
Ooh, so Forrest and I had done a summer visit not too long ago to a a homeowner that grows tropical fruiting trees. So a lot of times in the summer months, you can even get some of the late season mangoes and things like that, even in September, and things like that. Some of your tropical fruits are finishing out. And so there's really cool resources that tell you. So that same website I mentioned, you can pick plant now or you can pick fresh now, and it'll tell you what's in season. So maybe even if you're new to growing and you don't have anything to harvest yet, but you're trying to pick Florida produce, it'll tell you this is just actually a very small sampling of things available in September. It's actually a longer list on the other side.
Yeah, I see starfruit on there, which is one of my favorites. And I did want to just mention you name dropped Forrest. We haven't had him on as a guest yet, but
You should.
we will. He can't escape. It's just a matter of when. But he is our Florida friendly landscaping educator. So just wanted to throw that out there. So you did a site visit, and did you say you acquired some?
There was a jackfruit and things like that, but Forest, we didn't acquire trees there, but we did get to bring back a jackfruit for a lot of folks to sample. And then Forest has been adding a lot of fruit trees to our campus so people can learn about that. And then we've added our vegetable beds as well. So lots of exciting things.
So let's take a few steps back here.
Sorry.
I am an absolute beginner. Let's say I can't grow a single thing. I've gone out and I got one of those earth boxes, or I have a big, kind of bed to grow my stuff in, and all I can do is basil. What do I need to do to kind of step my game up? Where would you start?
I would start with using some of the charts because a lot of times people struggle when they're planting things out of season because our pest and disease pressure can be higher if you're growing out of season. And we have a lot of great resources talking about, so on the same site, there's a tab about gardening information. So you can look about ways to improve your soil. A lot of it is we have sandy soil. So if somebody goes outside and just tries to plant a vegetable seed in their soil, a lot of times that doesn't fare very well if they haven't done anything to amend it, because it just doesn't hold a lot of nutrition. It doesn't hold a lot of water. So it makes it more challenging. It doesn't mean it can't be done, but a little bit of work ahead of time
Is there a
makes
good
it easier.
rule of thumb on the soil makeup, like 25% compost, maybe X%?
So you
regular
get your
soil?
compost in there. I see exactly.
Yeah. But is there like a general rule of thumb to kind of
I mean,
start one of your raised beds or
I
something like
tend
that?
to go by feel. So I want something in there that can help retain some moisture. So some things, and then I also want some fluff. So if somebody leans into, like, sometimes there might be like a raised bed mix, and if the ingredient is just a lot of pine bark, and it doesn't have like perlite or something like that in there, it might kind of get a little heavy on them. So I tend to mix a multitude of things. So some people, if it's a raised bed, they might lean into things like Mel's Mix, and it has some compost and either perlite or vermiculite and a few things in there. But I tend to go by feel.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I know what you're saying, but it gets really kind of dries out and gets really hard in there.
Yeah, you can go hydrophobic, but you also in that chart there's the organic vegetable gardening guide, and it's not to say everybody must garden organically, but the nice part is it has really cool charts at the bottom. So sometimes people ask about, well, what about eggshells and what about mushroom compost? And it lists like different factors when it relates to pH or moisture retention and things like that. So it's really neat to have a chart. So then if people want to know about specific things.
That's great. I love having those resources handy, especially the way they are presented seems very simple and accessible. But I wanted to move into asking you about folks who maybe don't have a dedicated yard space or landscape. Are they still able to garden? I know you run the community garden program, so if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit more about what that is and how to get involved, that'd be great.
Sure. So here in Sarasota County, we have 7 community gardens that are in some of our parks. So we have one inside city of Northport, we have one in the city of Sarasota, and then we have 5 in our county parks. So Some of them have wait lists, but we do have plots opening at some of the community gardens because we do our renewals in the summer months. So as we find out what plots are available, then we onboard new people. So if people don't have a place to grow at home, or I've even talked with some people, they had place at home, but their learning curve was a challenge. Their soil at home was a challenge. So community gardens are a great way to do it. And they like to commiserate with each other and talk about, like, it's really fun when people start pulling out some of their produce and they start asking each other questions. And so community gardens are an option. Sometimes people want to grow and engage with the soil. It's something that they really enjoy doing. But they're not here a lot in the summer. And they don't want to have a lot of maintenance, honestly, volunteering at school gardens are a great way to engage with gardening. And then we also have classes sometimes where we just talk about, so when I do a Creating Your Edible Garden class, we talk a little bit about vertical gardening, and we'll have some more samples of that coming to our campus this fall.
That's exciting. Yes. And so obviously seeds are available, and seed gardening is something you can do in Florida as well. I noticed you have quite a few seed packets on the table here. So where do you get those from?
Evergreen once in a while, if there's pullback from a seed company, they may donate, because we do have a seed library and we have community gardens and school gardens, things like that. It's not a consistent thing. So yes, that's something we've been very fortunate to have. And then when we get those, we try to share those back out to the community. And the thing I like about it at the most is it helps people that want to get gardening, and cost is a barrier, or experience, so they don't know if they want to invest in it yet. It helps alleviate a little bit of that. And then the other thing that we do more consistently is out through our libraries and some of our outreach events, and through some classes, we share out one seed, which is we'll pick a specific crop that we want to encourage people to try growing. And I'll have a class at the libraries and things like that. And we'll talk all about how to grow that crop, but also how to eat the crop. So if somebody is a new gardener and they don't know if they want to sit in a whole class, they might be able to share, but maybe they like cooking and they've cooked with it before. So I really like that one because we actually have multiple times that we chat with each other. So last year was Swiss chard, and then this year, you'll love this. It's going to be a trio of the one seed, and we're calling it Breaking the Rules, because instead of one seed, there's actually going to be 3 different crops in there. So it's going to be an herb trio. So you get to be in the know. It's going to be some cilantro, some dill, and some flat leaf parsley. And so that way, sometimes people are unsure if they want to grow their own food, but they want to try gardening. And so herbs are a great way to get into gardening, and it's wonderful for pollinators. So even if they're like, I don't know what to do with some of these herbs, we'll talk about that in class, but it can also be nutrition for pollinators. So
that's great. I mean, nutrition in terms of nectar source with those little flowers, and then a host plant as well for some of our local butterflies. It's exciting.
Yeah. So right around the time that you're like, oh no, what do I do with all of this? Caterpillar comes and takes care of the pruning for you.
We love it.
Yes.
It's a good symbiotic relationship. Yeah, mutualism there. So that's exciting. I love the idea of having that little seed library. I know I've rummaged through there now and again just to see what's inside, but there's always, well, not always, but there's usually some seeds there for perusing, kind of like your little free libraries. This one just has seed packets of various herbs, vegetables, flowers.
Yep.
And then I love the one seed program as well. I think it's nice too to have that focal crop, or in this case, focal crops, rotating every year and kind of, theming it out, doing some education on how to make good use of what you're growing as well, because you can grow things, but what do you do with the outcome, right?
Yeah, that was one of the things that came up with Swiss chard. A lot of people are like, this is growing great. Now what do I do with it? So, and it's pretty versatile. So we try to do that with what we pick. And And then also with the seed library that you mentioned, so if people are growing and they're saving seeds, it doesn't have to be edible. It just can't be invasive. So if they have seeds that they want to share out to the community, we have the capacity to do that. If they want to bring them in, we can split it up and take care of that. So
Yeah, no, that's great. And then I did want to touch a little bit on you mentioned pest pressure, and I think a big part of that is if you are planting off season, you might have some stressed plants that don't quite make it due to pest disease. And I am a big advocate for integrated pest management or IPM, where you're really holistically looking at why the pest or disease is there, because it's usually plant stress is the cause. So um, I know that we are maybe collaborating on some IPM education coming up in the new year. So stay tuned for that. If you guys aren't already following us on social media or Eventbrite, now would be a good time to do so that you don't miss out on the good stuff coming down the pipeline.
And then also School Garden Workshop should be taking place in September as well. And you'll be participating in that. And so I'm very excited.
I'm excited as well. It's going to be good. Really making sure, that we're not just indiscriminately spraying things, especially that we're going to be eating, even though there's quite a few organic natural products that are available, OMRI certified. You still want to make sure you're being very selective in your chemical use. I think that's something we can all get behind. It's just a great way to save money, effort, time, and again, why are we spraying things unless we need them? It's just not going to be the best thing for the environment either.
Yeah, but from a money perspective,
Definitely.
yes. And also, it's one of the things I love when I go to the community gardens. Often I see like a wide variety of insects, and sometimes they have really beneficial insects that can help keep things in check. So that's why we try not to do like broad spectrum, that type of thing. They're supposed to be mindful of those practices, and that's why we coordinate for education.
Absolutely.
Yes, very excited about some of those things
You know,
down the line.
you mentioned the little pests, the insects and things like that. What about the big pest?
You guys want to focus on all the fun stuff.
Yeah, because I know I've tried to grow some bell peppers. And I'm all excited to go out there and cut them up and have them, and something ate it.
Well,
Is that squirrels?
I guess one of the ways to deal with wildlife is to obstruct if you can, but squirrels climb. So unless you're going to like completely encapsulate, that can be a challenge. And then plant more of the things that you know you like to eat. So if they do take some, you don't feel like you lost everything. And then you want to be out in the garden a lot. And as our weather starts to cool, that gets more and more enjoyable. Simply because if stuff's getting close to harvest, like if they beat you to the plant, then it's going to happen. And also if you leave some of that food debris, like composting in a controlled way is very beneficial, even if it's to bury, like trench compost if you don't have a compost system. But leaving your food debris around is just going to attract more wildlife. So if you notice stuff that's chewed, I wouldn't just leave it by the plant telling them, hey, there's more over here coming up.
That's good advice. I like planting more. That's a good idea. That way, at least
Yeah.
when it's left over at the end.
Because I catch myself, I want to grow a little bit of everything. And I'm like, well, maybe I should hone in, especially for beginner gardeners. They might want to pick certain things that are really important to them, make sure they're lining it up with the season, and kind of going from there.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, on the pollinator side of things, we call it clumping, when you're essentially planting a number of the same plant, the same species together in your landscape. And that's really important in terms of providing enough of a resource for those pollinators to find the plant for nectaring or as a host plant, right? They could be using it in different ways. So more is better where you can, especially if you're planting from seed. I mean, you have that opportunity to start a lot of things at once pretty cost effectively. And we're kind of in our final few minutes here, so I did want to put you on the spot.
Oh, fun.
And actually ask you, do you have a favorite thing you like to grow, regardless of season here in Florida? And do you have any stories about that particular plant?
I like to grow cherry tomatoes. I like to grow Swiss chard. I like to grow bok choy, though keep an eye out for the little froggy that's doing the pest management for you. I've taken them in the house with me a few times. So herbs, because it like a packet of herbs at the grocery can be how much, and I only need a bit at a time, so it's really nice to be able to go out repeatedly. That's more than one thing. A lot of things. Banana peppers. I love banana peppers.
Yeah.
Because they're so easy.
Yeah. Good in salads. I think some people eat them on pizza. Not quite for me, but, I respect it.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some other fun things. And we've had watermelon out there that you guys enjoyed. So there's, lots of things. But September's the month where you can start doing a lot of getting into all of that. And if they are starting out a first bed, when you asked about composting, one of the things they can look into if they're short on funds is like lasagna method of gardening, where they can layer. It's basically sheet composting. And we've taught about that in the community gardens before. So it's a great way to get started.
That's great. So I'll definitely have these resources in the show notes so people can, kind of at their own pace, learn a little bit more about each of those methods that we mentioned. And then is there anything else I'm missing that you guys want to share before I sign us off?
I would just I would keep an eye out for fun stuff, because there's lots of interesting research going on when it comes to vegetable gardening and in Florida and things like that. UF keeps adding more things to the list that they find successful, like tropical spinaches and things like that. So, and there's like research in regards to how to tackle things like nematodes. So lots of really fun things, and keep an eye on our Eventbrite, because we'll have more classes and more opportunities to visit the gardens and things like that coming up.
Definitely. Thank you, Mindy. Anything from you, Mindy?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at some of these seeds here, like the jalapenos. I'm going to steal that.
Okay.
Okay. And some of the different peppers. Now, I do want to ask you, should I just direct plant those, or should I use one of your kind of cups there to start them? Or
Typically, when it comes to things like your tomatoes and your peppers, things like that, a lot of times people choose to do those as transplants. So we'll have a seed starting class. That's another thing. I'm partnering with one of the master gardeners. We're going to have a seed starting class coming up, and we'll be providing some materials with that. We're really excited. So that's going to take a little bit longer, but keep an eye on the Eventbrite.
okay, so I think I need to attend that class.
I think I did as well. But basically, a lot of these, you can, if you see something as a transplant, you can look for it at the store, or you can look ahead a month and go, oh, this is what I might need for a transplant. And then when you're buying your seeds, and go from there. So, yes.
Well, awesome. Lots of really interesting classes down the, I think I said pipeline before. I'm going to say it again. Lots of cool stuff coming up. And so I'm excited. I know I'll be attending some of those, and I already have my Eventbrite subscription going on. So I get the notices that what's coming to our office. So thank you so much for being a guest on today's podcast.
Thank you.
It was wonderful to have you here and learn a little bit more about community gardens and one seed and what grows well in Florida in September. And so with that, I'll go ahead and say resources that were mentioned will be in the show notes. Thank you very much to all of our listeners for tuning in today, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.